need to get the ball rolling. When you're playing this kill lane and you're going to be outscaled in the later portion of the game, you have to make sure that you are the ones that are hitting this mid game in your stride.
We'll see if they're going to be able to hit that mid game running. I want to keep my eyes on aiming here. Aiming versus Light has very much been the most interesting matchup in my mind, at least looking at these teams before the series started. And now aiming has the Samira, Mark with the Leona. This is an aggressive bot lane. If they can find an advantage for themselves, they have the opportunity to pop off and show their stuff. Whether or not that comes to pass is going to be a different question entirely. And with BLG as well in the top side, this Gangplank versus Aphelios, this is kind of one of the pseudo counters that we saw at the World Championship when Aphelios was being played a lot, was just drop the Gangplank ult on. He doesn't get to move around and you can take him out.
Yeah, and especially when you're looking at a composition that revolves around enabling aiming and getting aiming into these fights, if he's in the thick of things against Light, who's caught up with that Gangplank ultimate, it makes things a hell of a lot easier. The only thing I will say is that, again, BLG are heavily reliant on Mark to be the engage tool in these fights. And Mark has historically been hit or miss, but Leona has been the big pick for Mark. This is the one that he's looked the most impressive on and is Mark's best champion. So in theory, BLG, when we get to those kind of mid-game spikes, where you've got the Immortal Shield Bow, you've got the... Oh, hang on.
We've got a 2v2 already, I wonder, with a nice Pulverize. But ultimately, Light still takes a big chunk of damage. This is what you're talking about, the proactivity from Mark on this Leona.
Yeah, and what I wanted to see exactly from BLG, they need to burn this cleanse. Meteor's going to be pathing down towards this bottom side, and what they're looking to do is try and continuously connect with these Zenith Blades, poke down Light, so by the time Meteor paths from this top side into the bottom lane, they're already set up with able to get on towards Light and no summoner spells available. However, Tarzan is reading this. He's also pathing from this top towards the bot side and is hoping that he should be able to match Meteor when he goes to this play and maybe turn that around.
Well, Tarzan has the faster pace so far, already down to that blue buff you can see on your minimap there. Should be able to turn that into Wolves, into Gromp. Finish is clear. There's another Pulverize out from iWandy. This guy, honestly, I feel like all I'm doing is just praising iWandy throughout this series, but I've just been so impressed by him. He's so consistently on point. Clearly, he was working hard through the offseason to become a premier support in the LPL.
Yeah, he's looking really good. And his positioning again in lane has been one of the standout things for me. Consistently standing on top of Light here means that you can actually go in with the Zenith Blade as Mark. And this combo that's been looking to try and burn these summoner spells on Light isn't able to do so. Now though, Tarzan, he's going to clear off his wolves. Looks like he may actually try and move away from this bot lane. It looks like Light and iWandy have got a nice little freeze for themselves where they're preventing that bot lane from crashing in. So Meteor not fully able to make anything happen, and I thought Tarzan might go towards top scuttle, but he wants to contest with Mark and aiming having control of bot side. This is not what you want to do, Tarzan.
Yeah, everyone moves over and Tarzan realizes his mistake as he starts to move towards the top side, but Meteor, he's got a whole bunch of movement speed from landing those abilities. Zika in a 1v1 with Icon, but the junglers are arriving and Icon could be in trouble, but bear in mind, Zika already doesn't have any health, so with that trade, because of Icon, Tarzan can get onto that top scuttle crown.
And this is perfect for LNG. So you get that scuttle back in favor of Tarzan. He's able to pick up one, although maybe not actually, as BLG is moving down. Icon has no mana. It actually looks like BLG will be able to pick up both scuttles.
Zeke
TP as well on bot side.
Yeah, Zeke is going to use it on the bot lane because he knows that they've already got the Scuttle Crab looking for a play elsewhere. Instead, the minion wave protects Light, but not for long enough. Zika gets himself first blood, and we get this Samira off to a good start as well.
And we said already, this is what BLG wanted to do, and it was so close to LNG getting away with this. All they needed to do was crash that wave. They would have been able to back, they would have been able to spend their gold, and that window of opportunity would have been gone. But right on the brink, Zika is able to TP to that ward, get LNG before they back, and pick up a kill for this Samira. So great timing from the BLG side.
Really nicely done from BLG, and it's good to see this squad off to a good start. 1,000 ahead now. Take another look as Mark. You said it, great Leona engage.
Yeah, and again, flash into that Zenith Blade. You have to very quickly burn the summoner spells on Light, and it means that when Zika arrives, it's a sit and duck.
Oh, Bubu's in trouble. Stunned up. Nice flash stun from Makuya. Tarzan should be able to chase this one down with his phase rush. And they're going to let Tarzan grab that kill. The shield came through just a split second too late from Icon.
I could even see the auto attack was in the air. It's like, please, I've roamed all the way from mid lane. Give me something. But it doesn't matter. Tarzan gets the kill. And this is what we were talking about as well, was that if there's any opportunity for Tarzan to play around anywhere, it was going to be this top side. I'm just worried that it's going to be at the detriment of his bot lane, as already with those summoner spells burnt, Meteor is making his way down towards this bot lane once again, and he can look to rinse and repeat these plays, or they can just go towards this early dragon if you're going to have Light and Iwandi playing very defensive.
Speaking of Iwandi, he's moved up to the mid lane, as had Mark. But neither of them going to do much of anything. Just looking for the potential of the 1v1 to start so they can jump in and turn it into a 2v1. Mark gets himself a relatively deep ward, but it's... Iwandi and Mark are just literally marking each other. It's like watching defenders and frontliners in football just like sticking on top of each other, making sure nothing can get past.
Yeah, however, there we go. Okay, Iwandi does get over. This is the thing. This is the play that BLG are trying to set up. Because I kind of gone top, Zika got that push in mid. He gets the deep ward in at the back of the Wolves, and now he's able to move again to get the dive onto this bot lane.
Look at Light, though, clearing the wave, staying out of the gangplank ult. Had to use a bit of a heal coming through as Aiming just jumps under the tower. Iwandi will be the next one, and a double kill on the Samira. Gets out from under the tower, gets healed, and keeps himself alive. Zika has a bonus heal if he needs it, and now asleep. Comes through. Tarzan couldn't stop the wave, and he'll be taken down. Meteor with one. BLG is snowballing out of control. Bikuya wants to answer, though, on the other side of the map. Nars him back into the fray. There's the stun. One more boulder would do the trick, but... Oh, Time Warp Tonic does wonders for Bubu.
And I'm not blaming Bubu here. I actually like what Bubu did there. He went aggressive onto Makuya to stop the teleport from Makuya to that bottom lane, guaranteeing that BLG had the numbers advantage. And BLG right now playing out the map state far better than LNG. And you can see here, push in from Icon, rotate down towards his bottom side. And although Light is desperately trying to clear out these bot lane waves, all they need is for Mark to tank. It gives the opportunity for Aiming to go in. Great job to dash away onto those creeps as well to get himself out of harm's way from the turret. And from that point forward, well, the 3-man versus 1, you know what way it's going to go.
Yeah, Meteor able to get himself the kill, gets himself some extra AP. He's got the Lucidity boots now as well, so those cooldowns a little lower. As Meteor grabs himself yet another Scuttle Crab here. You can start to see that CS lead really mounting in the bot side. Iwandi trying to disengage the fight, but Aiming, stacking up already. Oh, the stun from Iwandi keeps him alive. Dropped the ignite as well.
Yeah, maybe able to turn that around if you had the level 6 on Light, but Light's still level 5, so not quite able to do so. However, I need to see BLG starting to change these bot lane plays into objectives, into advantages for them. Now, they are going towards the Rift Herald here. You can see that they're already starting to move Aiming and Mark up, but they need to start collecting some of these early dragons as well, because otherwise it's too easy for LNG to just hands off, say, we don't want to fight you for any of like the Rift Heralds. You don't have to put pressure onto us with dragons. We're going to scale towards our 3 items and then look to fight you.
So that's my next question. That's what I was actually going to ask is, at what point does that turn around? When is too late for LNG? Like, how much can they lose while scaling up before they really need to make things happen? Oh, actually, I'll talk about that later. Icon's in trouble. He's going to get stunned up again. No, Mark. Q cooldown a little bit too long. Icon gets out with his life thanks to the cleanse. We should answer with a dragon here. First dragon of the game at 9 minutes, and Meteor will be uncontested.
Yeah, so honestly, you're kind of looking at like, for LNG, if you're starting to see these dragons racked up, as well, Light already being put pretty far behind. He needs some help, which is what we're going to see here as Aiming starts to approach the tower.
Oh, Aiming, you've gone too deep. He thought they'd recalled, but he thought wrong. Will be finished off the Moonlight Vigil for a little bit of a style kill from Light there. The dragon still goes the way of BLG, but that's a nice little pickup because I believe that was a shutdown as well.
Yeah, and that gold is kind of the EpiPen for this bot lane, because Light was pretty out of this game thanks to having lost a bunch of the CS and not really been able to. You can see there, like, look at the item comparison between both Aiming and also for Light. Now, Light will back, but you can still see he's a huge amount behind. If this had continued to go, you just BLG continue to punish this bot lane. Light ends up further behind. This 3-item spike, instead of coming at, the 30-minute mark, is suddenly at the 38, 39-minute mark, and BLG can just run away with it. So for LNG, it's not so much of what time is too late. It's how far along is Light in comparison to Aiming and also to Zika.
Can Light be the Aphelios carry is the question, and it's a question we've asked a couple of times in the past. Certainly last year, this Aphelios was a big pick for LNG. I remember him and Asura both playing towards like scaling up for the late game. This feels like classic LNG, and we referred to LNG last year as almost this scavengers, right? Where they would kind of just chill. They didn't want to be the ones being proactive. They didn't want to make the plays. They just wanted to try and punish mistakes when they were made. It didn't really work out for them. It's a little unlucky from Mikuya, but it's not a big cooldown. It'll be fine. This year, it's not really been the same identity in general, but this game, it does feel like they're going back to comfort for the team.
Well, I mean, it's a very different team, right? I mean, literally, they changed like everyone apart from the
going
bot
back
lane,
to comfort for the bot lane.
Yeah, exactly. But I think as well, actually, I'm going to hold on because this is going to turn into something.
Ooh, Icon did get tagged there. They're going to go for this one. Sleep in play. The solar flat's followed up, but a good flash. He gets out. God, Lilia Zoe is so obnoxious. The sleep into sleep into sleep into sleep. It's
the reverse It's the reverse 5 minutes, Mom. It's you don't want 5 more minutes, but they're making you have 5 more minutes of sleeping as you just get bubbled into sleep, into nap time, into, well, maybe a big old solar flare as those curtains get ripped open. But that CC chain isn't able to stick around. Nice job from Icon being able to escape away from that. And it does shut down that entire play. But again, you see in BLG, they are making plays around this bot side. This is their game plan. However, by pushing Icon out, now they're able to get damage onto this mid lane turret, and they should be able to get it. Tarzan can't clear this out.
Yeah. This should be a tier 2 taken. Oh, maybe not quite. They don't have a ton of damage to work with. Meteor has to back away. They should be able to finish this one. Mark's arriving as well. They'll clear the wave. Although Icon, he can clear waves pretty good. He's got the lost chapter. They have to back away. Unlucky for BLG here. A minute and a half for that plate to remain. I don't think they're going to be able to finish that tower in the end. But I think the best way, I just want to go back to the stupid jokes instead. I think the best way to describe the double sleep, it's like when you're a kid in like reception. Hang on, Mikuya's getting dived. Mikuya's getting 1v1. Pew. Man, where was this all through the last game? Tarzan now trying to answer his Pew's stuck into the wrong tower. You don't get to hide under this one. We're like, what are you buying time for? You're running out of minions, man.
I mean, he nearly got the plate. He may have got the plate, I'm not sure. But I like the instant thought is like, there's a Graves at me under a tower, hide behind the tower. Like, it's everything that we've had, but Meteor, not going to be able to follow up on this.
I don't think he gets the 1v1 here. Yeah, has to back away.
But yeah, nice job coming in from BuBu. And you can see as well, he's still going for this Essence Reaver build. So, hang on, actually. Zika? No,
Zika's got a redemption. So, as you can see, the better Zoe player.
Yeah, what was a slow-paced game has suddenly become a lot quicker of a game, as they're really trying to get this mid lane turret. However, a minute until this dragon, you do have TPs for Mikuya, you don't for BuBu. So again, we're going to have to see if BuBu can try and keep Mikuya active in this top side to avoid a 5-man down towards this dragon, because this could be an opportunity for LNG to take a 4 versus 5 fight and try and get some control back over this game. However, I am looking at Aiming, having that Immortal Shield Bow already picked up. He will be massive in this team fight. The only mythic that has been picked up so far in this game.
Yeah, and you have to remember as well that BuBu has that Cannon Barrage available. So even if it's a 4v5 fight, it's more like a 4.5v5 because the that Cannon Barrage can do so much work to deny these carries, especially immobile carries like Aphelios, like Orianna. So it can be very difficult for LNG to operate, even if it is a 5v4 here. They are 2,500 gold down as the dragon will spawn. This is only the second dragon of the game at 15 minutes here. Trouble Bubble doesn't quite connect. And they're moving towards the bot side instead. Swirl Seed doesn't land either. So for now, LNG, they've had a kind of warhorse or something along those lines. And they're staying awake. Light has to use the cleanse onto the Solar Flare. Swirl Seed goes through as Iwandi has been abandoned by the rest of the squad. Has to flash over the wall. Will survive for now. The Ignite ticket away, but actually, oh, damage onto Zika as he gets one onto Iwandi. Nicely done there, Zika. I was worried for him for a second, but he wasn't worried at all. Nicely done, and now onto the Drake they go. This will be 2 in a row now for BLG.
And I was worried for BLG coming into that fight. We had just seen Makuya shove in this top lane, got a nice trade onto Bubu as well. Could have potentially TP'd in towards his play, but just being able to separate out LNG meant that they couldn't try and answer back, and now Meteor is on towards Tarzan.
Ooh, he zips out of the jungle, though, because he suddenly realizes that the entire squad is here from the side of LNG, and you don't want to give these kills over to an affiliate. That's really not the right play. So Meteor has to use that summoner, and that is actually quite a big deal, because let's just remember that Meteor, if he gets caught out on this Lilia, even with the Zhonya's, you're very squishy. Iwandi going to be the one caught out as Mark goes in, but Light has the perfect weapons here. Could build up some shurikens, but I guess you're against the shield bow. You don't want this.
However, they've moved Zika down from this mid lane to try and support this play on bot, so BLG will get the tower, and now I actually really like this from Tarzan, answering on the cross map, making sure that he gets this Rift Herald. If they hadn't been able to get this, there's a potential here for BLG to get bot tower, rotate up towards this top, get the Rift Herald, and then crack open some of these tier 2s, but we're going to have a look at this play again. I really like this from BLG. Mark, again, really getting these ultimates in place with the Leona. Separates out Iwandi from the rest of the squad. And from that point on, I mean, this game is, or this play at least anyway, is already done from LNG. But just a nice little cherry on top with Zika able to pick off Iwandi.
Threading the needle there. Very nicely done. Iwandi goes in on the top side, though. Bubu pulled in. Well, that's one way to get a counterplay, right? Just remove someone entirely from the game. He had no opportunity for counterplay. 3 men committed to the top side. What can BLG do elsewhere?
There's nothing they can do elsewhere. They've already committed so many members towards the top side, and they're giving time towards Light to try and farm up. This is exactly what you need to do as LNG, this kind of hit and run style, where you can just delay and slow down BLG. Now, it's going to be the 3 minutes time when that dragon spawns. That's where we're going to see BLG starting to get real active around the place again. But I'm spotting a cheeky Moonstone coming in for Meteor, actually, with that Bandle Glass. So looks like we're going to get the healing style coming in from the Lilia in this game.
Oh my goodness. LS fans rejoice. Somebody has finally gone for this. Well, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. It's not actually built just yet, and he might not go for the Staff of Flowing Water, so we'll see. Bubu, once again, your time is up, my friend. This time, it's Light on the plate. Doesn't quite get the kill, unfortunately.
Run! They got the hit,
yeah,
they need to run!
They're committed to this tower. I don't know if they should have committed to this one. Iwandi has to be there. Solar Flare goes wide as Tarzan and Light do a lot of damage. And now a TP from Makuya as well. They can turn this around. They can split up the side of BLG. But can they? Because Samira will do Samira things. Get a good amount of damage, but stunned against the wall. No, will do nothings, apparently. In they go on the rest of the fight. Tarzan put to sleep like a toddler at nap time. And Meteor wants to finish everybody up. Their health bars are low. The dots are ticking. It's a double kill for Bambi as she chases down the dinosaur. Wants a little bit more on this one. Can she find the dots is the question. Swirl Seed lands, but the ulti's on cooldown. And that got real messy real quick.
Yeah, the deer chase and the dinosaur is the complete opposite of what Jurassic Park trained me for. But it does work out in this situation where BLG, they turn that around. And that's what we were talking about, is that LNG, you need to do hit and run. The running portion was the problem there. LNG didn't get out of that bot lane. BLG are able to turn that play around and actually end up getting a victory off of how much damage Aiming is able to churn out. So again, BLG, they're able to get a little bit more gold in their back pocket. I actually love the play from LNG. Like, this is smart. You get the kill, but you don't stick around for the tower. They needed to back off. If they've just run away now, BLG again are late to the play, but because they get greedy for the tower, think they can just finish it off. With Samira being this far ahead, even in the 4v3, BLG are able to win it.
And I think, hilariously, this would have been LNG's fight if, obviously, aiming coming in with the Samira ult was pretty great. Makuya managing to stop that with the ult. Tarzan finishes the kill. But when you looked at that tower dive in the first place, because, I mean, I'm just going to talk about the tower dive because the rest was kind of just cleaning up. Iwandi tried to get the headbutt, but because it was flashed, he didn't end up tanking the tower. It meant that Light was tanking the tower, so he then had to back away from the tower after the play, and then couldn't finish the tower off. Had it been Iwandi tanking, I think the tower goes down in the midst of the play. Maybe that all changes a little bit. Got a Herald in the mid lane, though. And BLG certainly don't want to give this up without a fight. It's going to get the charge through, won't finish the tower as Zika gets a tag onto Iwandi. Solar Flare doesn't do as much as they want to. Icon backs away. And that's a good disengage from LNG.
Yeah, fancy footwork from LNG. Icon dodging away from a lot there. Same when you look at Iwandi, but now LNG feeling a little bit more confident. I'm not sure about this one. I think you give this as LNG.
Well, they've got that ult combo of the Shockwave as well as the Moonlight Vigil, and they found Bubu off to the side. Walks away with his life. He had oranges, so it's K, but Dragon's still going to be on the field here. And let's bear in mind, this is an Infernal Dragon.
Yeah, and actually, I take it back. LNG, they know BLG have wasted a huge amount of those key ultimates. Cannon Barrage, Solar Flare, they're good to go.
Aiming has to use his mobile wind wall as Makuya hops over and escapes from Bubu. Can he get over the blast cone? Autoed by the teammates, but the dot is ticking. Makuya, he just about gets out with his life. That could not have been closer from the top laner of LNG. It will mean that the Drake goes the way of BLG, and that puts them on Infernal Soul point. LNG, in 5 minutes' time, they've run out of scaling time.
Yeah, and you're not going to get towards your items as Light. You see there, he's not even finished his Runaan's Hurricane. Would still need to build into that Infinity Edge as well. Like, they are too far away from getting to a point where they are going to feel comfortable. BLG have set Light behind. They put themselves in the driver's seat. And this was exactly the way they needed to play out this game. Dive heavily on that bot side. Have Zika roam down to set up those plays as well. Start to rack up these dragons. And don't give LNG the opportunity to play for the late game.
It's really great to see that BLG can find themselves win conditions in this series, especially after how game number 1 went. It felt like it was a slow one, but it was all LNG. Whereas this time around, gold is much, much closer between the teams, but those dragons are so crucial for BLG. That is their ticket. That is the way they can win this, especially with a Zoe. Can we just take a moment to appreciate how obnoxious Infernal Soul Zoe is? My God, you thought that Zoe one-shots you before. She doesn't even have to have items when she's got Infernal Soul. She can be massively behind. Still just 100 to 0 squishies.
And Cosmic Drive Zoe as well. He's gone full damage. He's not even going for like a Banshee's Veil in case he gets caught, not a Zanya's. No. He's happy to just sit on that stopwatch. He's going to go and be able to pop pretty much anyone on LNG side. Like if he gets on Tarzan or Light, Icon as well, because Icon doesn't have anything like a Banshee's Veil. Like Zika's pretty large.
He is large and in charge, Tarzan.
Oh, Tarzan.
It's very aggressive, but I like it. He gets the red buff. We take those.
That was about a vine's width away from Tarzan becoming George right there. That could have gone very, very poorly.
Oh, Icon. Well, this is the damage we were talking about. That's before Soul, by the way. He's not even in his final form. Zika is feeling himself this game. The Zoe has been kind of the all-star pick in this matchup so far. We were talking about the bot laners, but game number 1, it was Icon on that Zoe. Game number 2, now Zika on this Zoe. Both of them have looked excellent. I feel like Zoe's just in a really, really good spot right now in the meta, honestly. We're seeing a lot of really, really great Zoe plays across the LPL.
And I think this is why I wanted to see the Galio come in for this matchup. Like, does very well into the Zoe. You can't really burst them out as Zika. But also being able to play around these bot lane plays, where if Zika does look for the roam, you just come in with the hero's entrance as the Galio shut down and actually giving a lot of resistance, well, shields, I suppose, towards Light in those fights. But Makuya?
That was a cheeky little hop from Makuya, but he does have aiming, trying to head him off here. Slow onto the gangplank. Makuya doesn't have flash. There is a blast cone, though, so he gets away with it. Off of the just RNG on the Rift. I guess it is an Infernal Soul, so there's more blast cones, but even still, this is every single LNG play we're seeing just feels...
Yeah, I mean, look, when you're at this stage, you kind of got to push the envelope. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to come back. Because, again, think about what we're talking about. You're waiting on 3 items here as LNG. They've only just completed 2. You're not going to be able to feel comfortable pretty much at any point in time, especially with a minute and a half until this dragon. So you need to try and pick up any advantage that you can right now, because it's going to spill over into this dragon play. Now, unfortunately for them, I'm still not sold that they're going to be able to fight as effectively as they want. They're going to need to look for maybe this Gangplank being caught out of position. If they can get a quick jump on towards this Lilia, that's maybe where they can make the plays work. But otherwise, they just run the risk of being run over by aiming and how large this Samira is. Collector now completed as well. Samira is fully online.
Yeah, and honestly, it's about the wombo combo. It's about Iwandi and Mikuya managing to hold on some CC to stop aiming, just spinning around through the team, and then finding that chain CC, finding the shockwave on top of it, the Moonlight Vigil onto everyone that's caught up within the CC. 40 seconds on this Drake. LNG have to try and walk into BLG. Oh, Solar Flare though onto Icon. He's slowed. Zenith Blade comes in as well, but Icon gets out with it for now. Zika, double shot onto the backline as Mikuya, about to turn Mega, doesn't find a way into the enemy squad. Recalls coming out from LNG here, but Zika won't let them. Oh my days, Icon barely gets out with his life. He is lucky to be alive, and this will be a mid-tier 2. This will be the inside track on the Dragon as well for BLG.
And that was a huge play from Zika. Icon looking to get the reset, and if LNG had been allowed to reset... Oh, hang on, Baron?
Yeah, so LNG now going to try and force a play here onto Baron because they know that the Infernal Soul is happening. They know that they need to do something, but they can't do it. And in the meantime, BLG can happily just solo this dragon. We need to see... Yeah. I mean, there's not even anything to TP to. This dragon is done. This is over now. BLG have the Infernal Soul.
LNG were rolling the dice there. Could they sneak away Baron as everyone on BLG ran towards Dragon? But again, BLG, they have their wits about them. Go towards Baron, make sure that that play can't happen. And LNG are left with nothing. And as we said, at the end of that fight, Zika was the MVP. Icon was looking to reset, same with Mikuya, and if LNG had been allowed to reset, you're now down your Solar Flare, you don't have your Cannon Barrage, maybe LNG can find that miracle fight that they were looking for. But with Zika finding that bush, stopping Icon from getting that recall, they're able to pick up that dragon without a fight, and now this Baron is next on the cards for BLG.
Yep, that Infernal Soul makes everything that much more difficult. But it does mean that Elder Dragon will come into play at some point during the next few minutes here. BLG in a 1v1 with Mikuya. He's got Infernal Soul. He's happy to take this now. Mikuya, you've bitten off way more than you can chew.
Yeah, Mikuya trying to dodge away from the barrels, but BLG just lines them up, takes them down. Mikuya now dead. Baron is on the cards. You still got the TP from BLG, but he can just shove in this bot side anyway. There's pressure all over the map for LNG.
Now, Icon wants to pressure in the mid lane here, but realistically, when you know the enemy team is on that Baron, you don't have a foot to stand on. BLG teleports into the play. He just wants to stack as a 5 here. They just want to guarantee that they can grab this Baron for themselves. LNG now trying to contest. Mikuya will be up in 10 seconds with the teleport. Icon using the Zhonya's and a bit of a weird solar flare from Mark. Shockwave as Icon jumped into the team. And now Mark is the first one to go down. Icon's still surviving as Meteor forced out the backside of the fight. Aiming is low. Can they finish any of these kills though? Because Zika is going huge. BLG with a double kill. And Mikuya, he's teleported into a fight that's already been lost. And BLG is like, round 2, baby. I already beat you 1v1 once. I'll do it again. Mikuya, last man standing as BLG. They get their reward, which is that Baron.
And BLG will be so happy with that. Finding these team fights is maybe round 2.
Mikuya goes in. Maybe he can 1v1 BLG. Maybe I was wrong, or maybe not. Because Zika arrives on the scene to help him finish off the little dinosaur. 5k on the Baron. That's going to be taken now by BLG. And I think that's the last advantage that they needed. But that fight was closer than maybe it should have been.
I mean, yes and no, really. I mean, BLG was TPing into the fight. They didn't have Mikuya, but even then, it was the shockwave from Icon that really nearly turned that in their favor. We're going to see it here on the replay. catching out aiming with that nearly puts him low enough to actually win the fight, but honestly, they're not really under much pressure. Disengage again from Mark was strange. You see the stopwatch. There's no reason for you to go aggressive, but Icon making that play, catching aiming, setting up for Iwandi, means that they're nearly able to do something, but stopwatches as well on towards aiming as he is going towards that GA means they're not able to just burst him down. And honestly, Zeke is a secondary carry, well, obviously a secondary carry, but a much bigger issue than I think LNG gambled for there. All eyes have been on aiming, but realistically, Zika packs just as much of a punch at this stage.
And, I mean, the fact that aiming is able to just slash around in the air and annihilate all projectiles, and then had a stopwatch as well.
Yeah.
Even though he got caught by that shockwave, like, if that was just standard AD carry, that would be a kill right there. But with the stopwatch on top of the wind wall, he's able to just survive for so long. And LNG committed everything to that. That was the play. Getting the pick on aiming there was everything. Once it didn't work out, the play was dead in the water. Mikuya in Meganar. He's going to be exhausted for the next few seconds here. Maybe an opportunity for BLG, but with this Baron, they don't have to rush things. They can play this slow. They've got a minute and a half.
Yeah, and I mean, now as LNG, you're trying to defend against this Baron. Your only hope is some miracle steal in this Outer Dragon. Like, if you can maybe make that play, find another massive shockwave into a bunch of damage or a bunch of follow-up with your wombo combo, maybe it can work. But that's a hope and a prayer, because as you're saying, like, this Baron is up for another minute and 10. You're going to be fully shoved in. You've got maybe 10 seconds to shove your waves back out. And look at the damage from Zika. He's just shooting fish in a barrel in the LNG base.
And you'd expect that to be Tarzan doing that, since that's his voice line. But in there you go. Counter barrage used just to grab themselves a bit of pressure and a bit of positioning. Bottom inhibitor will go down here as Zika looking for a bubble onto Mikuya. Mid lane wave will be cleared. Light does have his 3 items now, so at least this Aphelios exists. If they can find the opportunity, this could be it. Indigo, Moonlight Vigil down. Can they finish the kill? Zika, low on HP. It's going to be 4 versus 4 at this point. It's Mikuya trying to keep the other top laner alive, but aiming, dashes in to finish off Icon. Light still going. No, he isn't. He's taken out of the play. He was one shot by BuBu there. I think we were looking at the wrong carries this whole time, because Gangplank is here, and he's the captain of the game.
Yeah, it hadn't been looking so hot for BuBu for a while, but suddenly, you know, 7 kills, 3 items. GP would do all right in these fights, and BLG would take us towards game number 3.
Wow. Whoa, Zika. Chill out, man. He's got a family. Brutal. Well, that was a dominant